Welcome back to Droffats TV. Let's talk about it, people. We're 3 weeks away from Inoue versus Nakatani, so I got to give you a preview and a final fight prediction. Let's start with the monster. Anyways, 31 and 0, 27 KOs. Enters this fight as the Ford Division two-time undisputed king. However, 2025 showed us a more responsible version of the monster. After being dropped by Luis Neri in 2024 and Ramon Cardenas 2025, Anyways, recent masterclass victory over MJ Akhmadaliev and Alan David Picasso proved he can shut down a technical southpaw, being MJ and an orthodox fighter, you know, in Picasso, with discipline rather than just raw power. But the key, Anyways' ability to cut the ring. I mean, he's no longer just a headhunter. His body snatching against rangy fighters is what will determine the pace of this fight. Then you got the long range assassin, Junto Nakatani, 32 and 0, 24 KOs. I know he struggled against Hernandez, but let's just stick to the Nakatani we know. This is the most dangerous stylistic nightmare Inoue has ever faced. Standing at 5'8" with the massive reach advantage, the southpaw Nakatani fights like a scaled up version of Inoue himself. Nakatani is moving up from 118 to 122 pounds for this clash. Second fight at 122 against the undisputed king. Inoue, will his power, will it translate through three divisions so far? Again, he didn't look that good against Hernandez, at least late in that fight. But we'll see. I'm sure we'll get a different version of Nakatani. But yeah, Nakatani, I mean, he must use that long jab to keep Inoue at the end of his punches. I'm talking a lot of jabs per round, 30 to 40 jabs per round, or he risks being bullied, by the naturally, not so much bigger, but more experienced at 122 pounds, Inoue. This is the classic southpaw versus orthodox. Historically, Inoue has handled southpaws, very well. Again, the mentioned MJ Akhmadaliev fight, as well as Marlon Tapales, TJ Doheny. I'm missing a few. There's another Filipino fighter, southpaw, he had fought. We can't forget Kim. Kim was a tomato can, called up at the last minute, but southpaw nonetheless. But Nakatani's arm length is unique. He doesn't just stand there. He pivots and uses elite timing. Then you got to look at the Inoue hook versus the Nakatani straight hand. In my opinion, the fight will be won in the mid-range if Nakatani can land a straight left down the pipe consistently. As he, sets it up with the jab, he can keep, Inoue to constantly reset. Whereas if Inoue can get past that lead hand and land the left hook to the liver, Nakatani's volume will evaporate by, let's say, round 8, round 9. With all that being said, the final prediction, this is the hardest fight of Inoue's career, as well as Nakatani's, but expect a high level, tense opening 4 rounds where Nakatani, he might actually lead on the scorecards the first 4 rounds of this fight, using his reach, the jab, the wizardry, to frustrate Inoue. However, pedigree matters. Inoue has been in the championship fires more often. As we saw in the Akhmadaliev fight, Inoue's IQ is now on par with his power. By the middle rounds, Inoue will find the timing for his overhand right to negate the southpaw jab. With all that being said, the verdict, Nakatani is too tough and too skilled to be folded early. But Inoue's relentless body attack will slow the younger man down in the final third. I got Inoue winning via unanimous decision, something close like, 116, 115, 113, and then, 115, 113. A tactical explosive war that solidifies Inoue as the #1 pound per pound, fighter on the planet, but proves Nakatani is the potential heir to the Japanese throne, setting up a rematch in September. You heard it here first. Droffats TV, a very close fight with the rematch in September. That's all I got for now. So leave your comments below, smash that like button, and subscribe to Droffats TV.